Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. This one I think I'm just going to do as a bit of a pregnancy update, a bit of a signs and symptoms, a bit of a how we're feeling, a bit of an appointment update, that sort of thing. So today I am at 17 weeks pregnant and I have just pulled up for my 16-week midwife appointment. It was delayed due to the Christmas period because of a bank holiday, which is of course absolutely fine. So to speed up to where we are now, we have had our private scan that I think is somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks we had it. Then we had our 8-week midwife appointment, which is like your check-in appointment, get you on the system, get you enrolled. And for someone like myself who has had a previous pregnancy, you talk through your previous pregnancy, anything you may have had from your previous pregnancy, and also your previous birth. So what type of birth did you have? Did it go to plan? Did it not go to plan? Any concerns they like to ask you as well, like did you feel you weren't listened to? Did you feel the birth didn't go how you wanted it to go? Did you feel that it was better than it was expected? Would you like to do the same again? Would you like to try something different? So many different things you go through at your 8 weeks. They also do like the father checks. So is it the same father? Is it a different father? And they go through the different things that you could get. So for example, in my first pregnancy with Hallie, I had preeclampsia. So I'm obviously on the check for preeclampsia this pregnancy, and I'm being monitored a little bit more closer, but they were explaining that because my children have the same father, there is actually a lower risk of preeclampsia in my second pregnancy. So they just talk through so many different things, which is really quite nice. We then had our 12-week scan, which was actually confirmed to be 13 weeks, and we were further along than we thought we were, we were further along than they thought we were. Josh and I thought the dates didn't quite add up properly, but we went with what they said, and actually turned out at the scan, yes, we were a week further along than what they had initially said. So we had that. Then at about 14 weeks, I had my first consultant appointment. I met my consultant. We spoke through a rough birth plan of what I felt at this moment in time, but it was all very much like, we do not need to confirm anything until about 35 weeks. And even at 35 weeks, everything can be changed. So say I wanted an induction and then the time came and I didn't want an induction, I could cancel it. Same with a planned cesarean section. Same with a natural birth. If I went into labor naturally, and then I decided this isn't for me, this isn't what I want, I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel safe, they can get me in for a C-section because I had a C-section last time. So yeah, we spoke through all of that at the consultant appointment, and here we are now today at the 16/17 week midwife appointment, where I assume they will do the usual. They will do a blood pressure check, an oxygen level check. They will listen to the baby's heartbeat, do a urine sample check, and just an overall well-being. I don't think they measure the baby this early. I think they measure the baby from like 26, 28 weeks. So here we are. I will check in straight after the appointment, and then I think I'm going to do some questions that I received on my Instagram with regards to pregnancy, signs and symptoms, how I'm feeling, this pregnancy versus last pregnancy. And also I've had a couple of questions with regards to a C-section as well. So I would like to speak about them and talk positively because I had a very positive experience. So yes, come with us to our 17-week scan, 17-week appointment. I keep saying I am back from my appointment. So it was about 35 minutes long. She did my urine sample, my blood pressure check, my oxygen check. Didn't measure the baby. I asked about that. And that is from 26 weeks they measure the baby, and then they can determine roughly if they think you're having a smaller baby or a large baby, and then if you need any further checks from there as well. So that's not till 26 weeks. I'm booked in again to see my midwife at 23 weeks. So we've got the scan at 20 and then another midwife appointment at 23 weeks. Everything is there or thereabouts as it should be for me at this stage. We were able to listen into the heartbeat, which was really, really lovely. And she was so kind. She let me record a video to send to Josh, who couldn't be here. So we've now got the heartbeat as well, which is really nice. My midwife, I've requested this time to have the same midwife at every appointment, whereas with Hallie, I had a different midwife at every single appointment. And that for me was a frustration, and it was tricky because I am consultant-led to have to explain everything again and again. So I have got the same midwife now for every single one of my appointments, which is really quite lovely. And she is just so lovely as well. So, for example, when we were listening to the heartbeat, I said to her, I was like, how fast is this heartbeat? What's the wives' tale telling you? And all this sort of thing. And she was laughing and joking along with me, which is exactly what I want. She asked about the details from my consultant appointment. And I explained everything that I'd discussed with the consultant with her and my plan for my birth preferences. And she didn't bat an eyelid, which again is something that I personally really want. I want to be able to go to a midwife who's not going to change my mind for me, or try and change my mind for me, or try and persuade me to do something that I don't feel comfortable doing. I'm very comfortable and very confident in the decision that I have made for this birth, and it would take a hell of a lot to change that. Like, it would take a substantial amount to change that. So I'm really happy that she was positive and that she was on board with me, and she just sort of explained when we would discuss that part of the pregnancy. So yeah, everything looked good from her side. We spoke about movements as well. So with Hallie, I had an anterior placenta. So typically with an anterior placenta, you don't necessarily feel as many movements as a woman who has a normal placenta. You feel them on the sides, but not so much at the front. And you don't typically feel the movements externally as much as somebody who has a normal positioned placenta. They can't tell at this stage. They have to wait for the 20-week anomaly scan, I think she called it, which is fine. I sort of explained what I felt had been happening, and she said it was all completely normal, and your placenta can change position every single pregnancy. So who knows? It could be anterior, it could be low-lying, it could be normal. So we'll find that out in a few weeks' time. But again, another really positive midwife appointment. So I feel good. I feel very good.
Twist the other way.
Today is the 13th of January, and my last update was at my midwife appointment on the 2nd of January, so it's been like 11 days, and there is a reason why it's been 11 days. I have been in my own personal trenches of eczema, acne, absolute hell, and you can still see my skin is really not in a good place, but I pop a picture in at the end of what my skin has looked like for the last 10 days, and in no way is this a slate to the NHS whatsoever, but trying to get an appointment to get a steroid cream prescribed for my skincare was really quite difficult. It genuinely took, from the 2nd, I got it on Friday, which is the 10th, so it took 8 days, well, take out the weekends, for me to get a doctor to ask me to send some photos and videos across via email so that they were able to prescribe a cream for me to use that's pregnancy safe. But I've really been struggling, and I didn't have bad skin at all with Hallie. Didn't have it at all. But this time round, I've had an awful eczema breakout. And then on top of that, around my nose and mouth, I've had really bad, like, not even acne, just loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of little spots. But without being weird, there's nothing in them. So it's not like I could maybe like pop them, put some pseudo-cream on it, by the morning they'd be absolutely fine. My skin is just so red and it's so angry. And the doctor has just said, he's given me a steroid cream and an antibiotic, but he is confident that it's not a virus. It's not like I've got, I don't know, whatever's going around at the minute. He's pretty confident that it's hormone related, so that's not been too fun. But it is so much better. So I started using the cream on Friday, and honestly, this top half of my face is a completely different face compared to what it was on Friday. So yeah, we're getting there, but I just thought I'd do a little bit of a pregnancy update with where we are with how I'm feeling, any other signs and symptoms, anything the same, anything the different, from Hallie to this baby. So one thing that has come back, I don't know when it's happened with Hallie, but it absolutely did happen with Hallie, is when I speak, I am so out of breath. Like any long period of conversation, any talking in a meeting, talking at work, anything like that, I am so out of breath. And I would definitely remember it happening at Hallie, but I don't know that it happened this early. But I guess second time around you're bigger and you're more squashed, maybe. I'm not really too sure. So that's one thing. And then heartburn. Heartburn has been, yeah, it happened all the time with Hallie, and pretty early on as well. It definitely came back about 10 days ago, and it was when I ate originally, but now it's if I'm hungry as well. I just get the most horrific heartburn. So I'm back to Gaviscon. For anyone that's watching this and they have had heartburn and they are trying to rely on them teeny tiny Rennie tablets, if you take anything from this video, please take that those Rennie tablets, whatever you call them, are rubbish, and please invest in a bottle of liquid Gaviscon. I think I've got one here in my bedside drawer, this one, because it's pregnancy safe. My midwife recommended it to me. But compared to Gaviscon, Rennie doesn't touch the sides. Rennie, I don't know what it's called, doesn't touch the sides at all, whereas that sort of does affect, like, work instantly. So I would really recommend that one. Which with the wives' tale, I love the wives' tales. I think I've said that before. With the old wives' tales, if you get heartburn, your baby is likely to come out with a head of hair, which was accurate for Hallie. She came out with a head of dark brown curly hair, which is hilarious because it fell out and it came back and it's really fair. It's really light, still curly, but really light. So who knows, maybe this baby will have a full head of hair as well. God knows. So that's another thing that I've got. And I've just got to the stage now with sleep. So I sleep either flat on my front or flat on my back. And obviously you can't do either of those with pregnancy. But I've got to the stage now where I'm so uncomfortable when I sleep. Beyond uncomfortable. I've tried a pillow. I've tried propping my knee up. I've tried one side. I've tried the other side. I've tried a different head pillow. I've tried a different pregnancy pillow. I've tried everything. And more often than not, I'm extremely uncomfortable all night long. So that really hasn't been fun at all. But I think for the most part, and a little bit of sciatica, which I did also have with Hallie, but if I do a walk, if I do some stretches, if I go to the gym, it tends to loosen up. It's just when I've been working from home all day, in an office all day, and not moved, that I tend to get a bit stiff. But yeah, I think other than that, I'm absolutely fine in myself. I certainly feel fine in myself. We are heading up to the halfway mark, and we get to find out the gender of our baby very, very, very soon. And I feel pressure this time. First time we didn't find out, and this time I feel pressure. We get a lot of comments, and it's not even from friends and family. This is from like colleagues or friends of friends or clients in the gym for Josh, that will say, if you have a boy, your family is complete. And that may be true for a lot of couples, but who's to say we only want 2 children? And also on the flip of that, who's to say that if we had a girl, that also wouldn't complete our family? I find that one really hard to process, and I've said to Josh and certainly family, like, I feel the pressure this time round with finding out the gender. I feel like there is a pressure on me to have produced a boy, and if I don't, I'm some sort of failure. And obviously that is not the case whatsoever. But yeah, I found that hard. So we are about 10-11 days away from finding out the gender to our baby, and I don't really know how I feel about it at the minute. So we think we've decided what we'll do is we'll find out the 2 of us, and we'll just keep it to ourselves until we're ready to share that with friends and family. We're not going to put a time on it. It might be a couple of days, it might be a couple of weeks, but we think we're just going to process it ourselves first. We would be, just to confirm, delighted either way. Like, it doesn't bother either of us in the slightest whether the baby is a girl or whether the baby is a boy, as long as that baby is healthy. Naturally, we both have a preference. Josh would love to have a boy, and I would absolutely love to have a girl, and for Hallie to have a sister. But that doesn't mean that Josh doesn't want a girl, and that doesn't mean that I don't want a boy. It's just, if you held a gun to our head and asked us to pick a decision, we would pick that decision. And I've seen quite a lot recently. I've seen like some influencers and some celebrities like speak out about gender disappointment, and there's no disappointment whatsoever, but I think it's so much more common than what is spoken about. But anyway, I'm waffling. There's a tangent going on. But yeah, we find out in about 10 days what the gender of our baby is, and I am excited, but I'm also very nervous, and I feel a lot of pressure about it. So yeah, I will probably catch up maybe one more time before I end this video, but it's already quite long, and I'm conscious of that. So I think I will try and wrap it up now. Actually, let's change that. I'll wrap it up now. The next one I will do, we will go through the appointment for the gender, how we found the appointment for the gender. We had a couple of questions regarding gender at the NHS versus gender at private scan that we've put out to our friends and family and put out on social media platforms. So I'll be keen to give our experience of find out the gender at an NHS scan. And we have also had weirdly, our last consultant appointment through. So there will be one at 35 weeks, but I've had the 38-week one come through already, which will go through birth preferences, which I've said before, but I'm pretty cemented on what I want for a birth and what I want birth to look like, and the options that I will do this time based on the fact that I had a cesarean last time. So that's really exciting because that makes it all very, very, very real. But yeah, if anybody else out there is struggling with pregnancy eczema or pregnancy heartburn, please reach out, because I have found some other solutions. I've got it on my thighs, I've got it on my arm, which is what you can see me continually itching, and I've got it on the backs of my shoulder blades. Nowhere near as bad as what was on my face. I will put that in there. But if anyone else is also struggling, please do reach out. because I have found some creams that do help. And also if anyone has got anything they can recommend for acne, as you can see, or spots, whatever you want to call it, it's hormonal, whatever it is, please do, because I think I said before, I've never ever had spots in my life, not to this extent, which is probably not even remotely bad compared to what people have. But even as a teenager and growing up, I would have like 1 or 2 manageable spots, and these are quite red and these are quite angry. So yeah, if anyone has anything they could recommend for that, I would really appreciate it. But yeah, that's about it for now. I will wrap up this video as I'm conscious that it's quite long already, and we will catch up after our gender scan.